They say every politician wears two faces, one for the people, and one for the mirror. But what if I told you, the real trick isn't changing the man, it's changing the stage around him. The camera drifts over the quiet city of Tulsa at dawn. The streets are empty, but campaign posters flap against lampposts, whispering promises no one believes anymore. Somewhere, inside a half-lit office, a crisp suit hangs on a chair like a costume waiting for its actor. The scent of burnt coffee and old ambition fills the air. Outside, the world prepares for another speech, another performance, another perfectly rehearsed lie dressed up as truth. Power, in this world, is a kind of theater. Every movement is rehearsed, every handshake timed. The audience, the people, sit in rows, waiting for hope, but what they get is choreography. Behind the curtain, the real game begins. In the background, a campaign manager checks the clock. A makeup artist adjusts a tie. A camera lens focuses, blurring everything else out. The illusion is about to begin. The politician doesn't speak yet. His words are still being written somewhere else by someone who knows that emotion sells better than honesty. A team sits in silence, crafting sentences that sound like truth but feel like theater. Words that sparkle just enough to make you forget to question them. This is the first lesson in the art of tricking power. Don't change the truth, reshape how it's seen. As the lights come on, everything shifts. The tired eyes disappear behind charm. The fear turns into confidence. The silence turns into applause. It's not magic, it's manipulation, polished into art. And the crowd doesn't see the strings because they don't want to. They want a hero, not a human. They want certainty, not complexity. The real performance isn't the speech. It's the illusion of sincerity. The politician raises a hand, waves, smiles, every gesture a signal, every pause a cue. The camera flashes catch him from just the right angle. The kind that makes even the sweat on his forehead look like effort, not fear. Behind the smile, a thought hides. They'll believe what I let them see. And that's where the story begins. Not in corruption or deceit, but in theater. The show must go on. Even if the truth never makes it past the curtain. Every politician fears one thing more than scandal: silence. Because silence means the crowd has stopped listening. So when disaster strikes, when cameras turn their lenses toward the cracks instead of the crown, that's when the real performance begins. You see, in politics, there's no such thing as bad attention, only unshaped attention. Picture this: a campaign rally in full swing, banners sway in the summer wind, microphones hum, and 1,000 cell phones glow like tiny, judgmental stars. The politician stands tall, every line rehearsed, every smile sculpted. Then, mid-sentence, chaos. A protester shouts from the crowd, a sign is lifted high, words cut through the air like broken glass. The crowd stiffens, the cameras lean in. A single moment threatens to swallow the illusion whole. But watch closely. The politician doesn't freeze, he pivots. That's the trick. He lowers the mic, pauses just long enough for tension to build. Then he smiles, not wide, not forced, just enough to shift the mood. That's the sound of freedom, he says, voice steady, smooth as oil on marble. The crowd erupts in applause. The protester's voice drowns beneath it. The scene transforms not by power, but by theater. The moment that could have broken him becomes the proof of his strength. This is the redirect, the oldest trick in the book, older than politics itself. You don't fight the wave, you ride it. You don't crush opposition, you reframe it. The crowd doesn't notice the sleight of hand because they're too busy clapping for the confidence. In their eyes, strength looks like calm. Composure looks like truth. They forget that performance and sincerity wear the same mask when the lighting is right. Later, on the news, the clip will play on repeat. The headline will praise his grace under pressure. Social feeds will flood with comments. He handled that like a leader. The original message of protest will vanish, buried under the roar of applause. What began as a moment of weakness will live forever as a highlight reel of power, but behind the curtain, the strategist smiles wider than the politician. Because this was no accident. Every campaign keeps a crisis plan, a script for disaster. They know what to say, how long to pause, when to look down, when to look human. Sometimes, they even seed small disruptions just to prove they can handle them. It's not about controlling chaos. It's about performing control. The redirect works because people don't just want answers, they want stories. They want to see the hero rise after the fall, even if the fall was staged. The truth bends easily under applause, and once the crowd begins to cheer, even the lie starts to believe itself. Later that night, as the lights dim and the cameras stop, The politician removes his jacket and stares at his reflection. The echo of applause still hums in his ears. He wonders, for a brief second, if they were cheering for him, or for the mask he wore. Then he exhales, picks up his phone, and scrolls through headlines. All praise, all approval. The trick worked. Again, in the quiet, the strategist walks in, calm, composed, holding a cup of black coffee. Perfect timing, they say, almost proud. The way you turned that around. Flawless, the politician nods, pretending it was instinct. But deep down, he knows it wasn't. It was design. Every move choreographed, every pause written like dialogue in a script. The people saw authenticity, but what they got was rehearsed. Spontaneity. That's the irony of modern politics. The truest moments are the most carefully staged. The public thinks they're seeing reality unfold, but they're watching a movie that's been rehearsed for months. The redirect isn't about deception, it's about narrative control. It's not lying. It's storytelling with consequences. And yet, the cost is always the same. Every time the trick works, a little more truth disappears. The public forgets what real emotion looks like. The politician forgets where the performance ends. Soon. Even he can't tell which version of himself is real, the man or the mask. The redirect doesn't end when the crowd leaves. It echoes in headlines, hashtags, and whispers. By the time anyone realizes the narrative has been rewritten, it's too late. The story has already become history, and so, the show goes on because it has to. The politician steps back into the light, ready for the next act, the next trick, the next illusion. The crowd will cheer again, and the cameras will capture it all. Only this time, you'll know what you're watching. You'll see the flicker behind the smile, the pause that feels too perfect, the line that lands too cleanly. That's the secret no one admits. Politicians don't trick people, they teach people what they want to believe. And once belief takes root, the truth doesn't stand a chance. Every great performance needs a symbol, something to hold, something to point at, something that says what words can't. In politics, that symbol is called the prop. It could be a flag, a photograph, a worn-out hat, a baby in someone's arms. A simple object that carries more emotion than 100 speeches ever could. The crowd doesn't fall in love with the man. They fall in love with what he holds. Imagine the scene, a small-town community hall. The kind that smells of old wood and coffee. Cameras line the back, flashes ready, lenses hungry. The politician steps up to the podium, face calm, eyes heavy with what looks like empathy. In his hand, a folded letter, stained and creased. He pauses, unfolds it carefully, as if it were holy. This, he says softly, was sent to me by a mother who lost her son last year. The room goes still. No one breathes. The cameras zoom in on the trembling paper, on the slow movement of his fingers. The letter becomes the speech. The words he reads don't even matter. It's the silence between them that hits hardest. And in that silence, people believe. They believe in pain, in hope, in him. But what they don't see is the production behind that paper, the staffer who wrote it, the strategist who timed it, the photographer who suggested the lighting. The letter might be real, or maybe it isn't. But the feeling, that's the product they're selling. That's the brilliance of the prop. It's not about truth. It's about connection. The human heart doesn't check sources. It just responds. The object becomes a bridge between stage and soul. You see it and you feel something. And when emotion takes over, logic quietly leaves the room. The politician knows this, they all do. They use symbols the way magicians use smoke. Not to hide the truth, but to make you look somewhere else. Later, when the footage hits the internet, that letter will be everywhere. Screenshots, quotes, memes. The symbol grows wings. People share it not because they know it's true, but because they want it to be. It becomes folklore, a digital relic of empathy. The speech fades, the message fades, but that folded letter stays. The audience remembers the image, not the argument. And that's the point. The prop doesn't just tell a story, it anchors it. It gives people something to hold on to when the rest of the world feels too complicated. In a time when truth changes every 24 hours, a simple object feels eternal. The campaign team understands this deeply. They call it emotional architecture, building a story out of feelings, not facts. The next day, in a meeting room filled with Haffiton sandwiches and the hum of air conditioning, the team plays the footage back. They pause at the moment, the crowd gasped. Right there, the strategist says, pointing at the screen. That's it. That's the clip we push. Everyone nods. No one talks about policy, or reform, or plans. They talk about impact. The image of a man holding a letter did more than any debate could. It wasn't politics. It was poetry, engineered by professionals. But there's a darker truth under all that beauty. The prop doesn't just move the crowd, it binds them. Once people connect emotionally, they stop asking questions. They defend what they feel, even against facts. And soon, the politician isn't just a leader, he's a story people tell themselves. They see their pain in his performance, their hope in his gestures. He becomes a mirror, reflecting what they want to see. Yet, behind the curtain, he feels something to a quiet unease. The prop that made him powerful also makes him hollow. Every time he picks it up, it takes a piece of him with it. The emotion isn't his, but the applause still feels good. That's the curse of the prop. It works too well. It blurs the line between acting and believing. Weeks later, that same letter will be framed on his office wall. Visitors will nod at it, misty-eyed, thinking it's proof of compassion. Only he knows it's a relic of manipulation, a trophy from a game he's learned too well. He doesn't read it anymore. He doesn't need to. He knows the words by heart, and somewhere out there, in a diner or a living room, someone still watches that clip and says, he cares. They'll defend him in conversations, online battles, family arguments. The letter will outlive the campaign, maybe even the man, because props don't die. They linger, symbols of faith built on perfectly timed illusion. That's the real genius of the prop. It doesn't demand belief. It invites it. And once invited, people don't leave. They stay loyal, not to the politician, but to the feeling he gave them. That feeling becomes truth. And truth, once replaced by emotion, rarely comes back. The crowd will keep cheering. The cameras will keep rolling. The prop will change. Maybe a medal next time. Maybe a photo. Maybe just a tear caught in perfect lighting. But the performance stays the same. Because, in politics, feelings are the currency. And props are the mint. And somewhere, in the silence between applause and reality, a question hangs unspoken. Did he believe it too? Or did he just play his part so well that even he forgot it was an act? It never starts with a headline. It starts with a whisper, a line dropped in a bar, a murmur shared between two strangers who think they're just talking. In politics, the loudest voices aren't the ones on stage. They're the ones you never see. The ones who plant seeds and let other people water them. That's the whisper campaign. It's not shouted, it's inhaled. And by the time you realize it's there, it's already grown roots. Picture this, a small cafe on a street corner, the smell of burnt espresso, the buzz of quiet gossip. Two men sit by the window, pretending not to care. One leans in, lowers his voice. You didn't hear it from me, he says, but they say he's not what he seems. A pause, a stir of sugar. The other nods slowly, pretending surprise. That's it. That's how it begins. No press release, no press conference, just the illusion of insider knowledge. The perfect lie sounds like a secret. The beauty of the whisper campaign is that it doesn't belong to anyone. Once released, it floats invisible, untraceable, believable. It hides in repetition. Every time someone says, I heard, the rumor gets stronger, cleaner, more real. And the best part, the politician never says a word. He doesn't have to. The streets do the talking for him. This is the most dangerous form of storytelling. Because it doesn't ask for proof, it asks for trust. People love to feel like they know something others don't. That sense of secret knowledge gives them power. And they spread it like wildfire dressed as wisdom. Soon, the whisper becomes a wave, and the wave becomes fact. By the time the truth tries to catch up, it's outnumbered. Somewhere in a dimly lit office, a team watches this unfold. They don't celebrate, they just observe. Every rumor is a test balloon, a quiet experiment in human psychology. They monitor social media threads, private chats, small-town radio calls. Each time the story travels farther, the strategist scribbles notes. People want this one, they say. It feels true. Not as true, feels true. In politics, that's enough. Meanwhile, the target, another candidate, a rival voice, scrambles to respond. But how do you fight a ghost? Every denial sounds defensive. Every clarification sounds suspicious. The more they talk, the guiltier they appear. The whisper campaign doesn't just spread lies. It traps its victims inside their own explanations. The city starts to hum with it. Barbershops, diners, bus stops, the rumor moves like smoke through cracks, invisible but everywhere. Someone adds a detail. Another adds emotion. Within days, it's no longer a story, it's a shared belief. And belief doesn't need evidence. It only needs company. In Tulsa King, power is traded in favors and silence. But here, silence is the loudest weapon of all. The politician behind the whisper stays calm, untouchable. Publicly, he smiles, speaks about unity, promises transparency. Behind closed doors, his team fuels the fire. A few anonymous posts here, a few sources close to the matter there. They don't have to lie outright, they just have to imply. Suggestion is cleaner than confession. It lets people build their own truth and call it discovery. By the third week, the rumor has mutated. What started as a whisper about a late-night meeting is now a scandal involving money, betrayal, something dark and undefined. It doesn't matter what the truth is anymore. The audience has chosen their version. Outrage spreads faster than facts, and silence from the accused only feeds it. The campaign wins by saying nothing at all. The real brilliance of the whisper campaign lies in its camouflage. It doesn't look like strategy. It looks like coincidence. No one claims ownership. No one signs their name. It's the art of weaponizing curiosity. The strategist knows that once doubt is born, it can never die. Even if the truth comes out, the stain remains. The mind remembers the rumor long after it forgets the correction. There's a saying in the business, a lie doesn't need legs when it has a voice. And in this world, there are 1,000 voices waiting to echo the right words. The trick isn't creating noise, it's directing it. You whisper once in the right ear, and the city does the rest. Weeks later, the rival is gone, reputation ruined, credibility shredded. No one can even remember how it started. People just shrug and say, everyone was talking about it. The mastermind walks on stage, smiling under the warm lights, the crowd cheering his honesty and strength. He speaks about integrity while standing on the ashes of someone else's. And yet, as he drives home that night, the sound of those whispers lingers in his head. He turns off the radio, but they follow him, faint echoes in the dark. Because once you learn to manipulate truth, you stop trusting silence. You start wondering if someone else is whispering about you. That's the final irony of the whisper campaign. No one truly wins. The rumor that painted one man's downfall always leaves fingerprints on the one who started it. Power gained through deceit is a house of mirrors. Every reflection looks like the next lie waiting to surface, and as Tulsa's skyline fades behind the tinted glass, the politician leans back, eyes heavy. He knows he's won the moment, but he's lost the quiet. The whisper doesn't fade. It just changes direction.